you're a billionaire, you can buy the technology, or then you can have some sort of weird industrial accident. You get radiated with something or fall into a vat of whatever, and then the powers somehow emerge out of you. But then you are unique, and you're not like any other person. You're literally a superhero. You're not like other people. You're above them. You're the gods. So the age of reason, the age of the Enlightenment, is a secular move. It tries to de-Christianize the West. It moves for the purposes of power and so forth, but it does it at the expense of personhood. It does it in favor of identity groups, but not individual persons. So you can even say it does it in the favor of disaffected or marginalized minorities, like the commoners in the French Revolution. The common people don't have a vote. They want to vote. They do it through violence and so forth. They're not interested in individual rights. They don't do it in the name of the persons, the individual persons there. They do it on behalf of the group. And that's not a personal way of addressing the problem. It's not an objection at the principled level of you're treating people as if they were non-people. That's the real objection. That's not the objection they make. And they don't understand themselves doing that either. They say we are just the same as you, as in we don't have the power, but we deserve the power. But they don't make it's not a theological argument. In fact, it's anti-Christian, the whole French Revolution. From top to bottom, it is intensely anti-Christian. They erect a goddess to reason, but it's a sort of reason that is not connected to personhood. It's not made for individuals, it's groups. So they do it. Thomas Paine writes the Rights of Man. Mary Wollstonecraft writes a vindication of the rights of women. Both of them see it as groups, but they don't see it on behalf of the person. It doesn't take that shape or that expression. It's a non-theological response to a use of power by the elites to put a cookie-cutter approach to human nature. And you can see that even in the gardens that I described in Palace of Versailles. They try and use rational determinations to order everything according to the principles of reason, but they don't consider human personhood. They also don't consider, if I go back to this Genesis text, they don't consider that when God creates man in his own image, he doesn't only create the one, he also refers to the family. Family is also characteristic of God's nature, because the male and female together are able to be fruitful and multiply. That's not in consideration in the French Revolution at all, or the Russian Revolution. It's just individuals. But individuals are not the same thing as persons. I'm making a case that almost nobody makes, which is why you don't immediately say, I know what you're talking about. An individual, an autonomous individual, is not the same thing as a person. A person has a history. An autonomous individual has no past, and we don't know yet what the future is. And the representative of the autonomous individual is the orphan. I said that in Romanticism. It's the orphan. And it becomes the orphan in fiction from the beginning of the 19th century onwards. All the heroes are orphans. No orphan, they have no parents, they have no history, we know nothing about them. What they will do in the future will determine who they are. They will tell us what their story is. In terms of a genre of literature, it's called a Bildungsroman. Did I use that phrase before? Bildungsroman? Bildung is a self-development novel. A roman is a novel. Roman is the word in French and German for a novel. And Bildung is a self-development novel. It's not an educational novel. Education is something that parents do to children. This is something you do to yourself. It is a form of culture, it is a form of education, but it's a self-directed one. And the reason it's self-directed is because you're an autonomous individual and nobody can direct you. So the hero in a Bildungsroman will have to teach himself what the right path is in life. Nobody can really guide him. And it will be said in the latest iteration, the sci-fi novels of superhero novels, you have to look within yourself for what the right thing is to do. This is the advice that Dumbledore gives to Harry Potter. It's what is told to Peter Parker, the Spider-Man type thing. You know, other than with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, but nobody's going to tell him what to do with his powers. He has to figure it out for himself. And then he will become a superhero by finding his path for himself. No wisdom from the past, can guide him, because he is a unique thing. He has superpowers. Nobody has these superpowers besides him. How they get the superpowers, who knows? Usually through technology. Right? Either you can, if you're a billionaire, you can buy the technology, or then you can have some sort of weird industrial accident. You get radiated with something or fall into a vat of whatever, and then the powers somehow emerge out of you. But then you are unique, and you're not like any other person. You're literally a superhero. You're not like other people. You're above them. You're the gods. And those models of orphans that will act to defend humanity, whatever humanity is, which they don't share with the rest of us because of their superpowers, is somehow exemplary for us. Actually, it's just exemplary for the elites who have the superpowers of science and technology and are going to defend the rest of us with science and technology. It's a way of getting us to believe that science and technology is unambiguously good. Except they have supervillains and they use science and technology as well, but the good guys win. Anyway, but as I say, freedom and dignity and the literatures of freedom and dignity, for which C.S. Lewis is the foremost apologist of the 20th century, according to B.F. Skinner, is exactly what we need to dispense with in order for a planned totalitarian future to succeed. And when I say totalitarian, he would agree with it. He would just say totalitarian good, not totalitarian bad. We're going to use it well. We're going to make everybody happier. We're going to do a Huxley version of the future, not an Orwell version of the future. That's how he sees it. On this course, I have tried to defend the literatures of freedom and dignity and show how they are not like orphan novels. They're models to be imitated. We can see in the hero, even if he's superior to us, something to emulate, because there's moral example being cast before us, and we can follow in their moral example. We can slay giants. We can do great things because we have the freedom within us to do actions, to choose to do those actions, to undertake impossible things, and to win in the battles. It's possible. There are heroes that have gone before us. They're like us. They share our human nature. Whereas in the Bildungsroman, this is a unique creature that has evolved, and there are no precedents for it. It doesn't apply to us. It's a very different type of thing. Think of yourselves like an orphan is what the literature of the totalitarian age teaches us. And totalitarian, you can see I've pushed totalitarian all the way back into the 19th century, because I think that's what we get state education that arises in the 19th century, etc. A totalizing, top-down attempt to control and manage everybody's lives from cradle to grave.